Welcome back. It's been a while, a month or two I think, since I did my last video. Anyone who's watched me regularly knows I'm very sporadic with these. I'll go a good few months without any and then tend to do a load of them all at once. And there's been quite a few changes since the last video I did. Before I get into that, it's just a bit of a plea really. YouTube have changed their stipulation for monetization of videos. Now, I don't make any real money out of this, but they do occasionally. It's a nice little surprise. I'll get a check for kind of 50-60 pounds. You know, you're talking 2 or 3 times in the whole time I've been doing this. I've got that, but you know, it's a little something that keeps it's better than nothing. But they've recently changed the monetization limits, which essentially means unless you've got more than 4,000 hours of watch time in the last 12 months and 1,000 subscribers, then they're not going to pay you. Now, I've got comfortably over the watch time. I think I've got 6,000 plus hours of watch time in the last 12 months, so that's not a problem. But I've only got 890 subscribers, something like that. I'll be really happy, really grateful if you're watching and you're not subscribed, just click the button to subscribe. I'm not going to say I'll not do any more videos if I don't get to 1,000, but it takes away a little bit of the what's the word? A little bit of the impetus that to make me want to do these, but I'll still probably do them anyway. But it encourages me to do more. So if you want to watch more videos and you do hit subscribe, I'll give you a warm feeling, and I'll more than likely do some more. Anyhow, since the last video, there's been quite a few changes in Golfstar. You can see them quite clearly here. So we've got 2 new buttons which we didn't have before. We've got the customized tournament here, and we've got the Grand Championship. So today we're going to look at the Grand Championship. But first, just a quick customized tournament, just what this is. You can see each of these you've got somebody's name assigned to them. But basically, anybody, I think, there might be probably VIPs only. I'm not sure exactly how it works. I've never done one, to be honest. Can set up a tournament. It costs quite a lot of money. If I click on here, say, right, I want to create a gold tournament, 400,000 GP, special 600,000 GP. As you can see, I've only got 700,000 up there. Still really struggling for GP. I've got quite a lot of these transcendences to do and things like that, so I've never really done one. But I didn't quite understand why you'd want to, with the cost involved, like what the reward was. But having spoken to a couple of people who've done them, it appears you do get quite good rewards. So if you have a tournament that's got a lot of people entering, find one in here. So there's a few here that have got 300. There's one here with 1,000 out of 3,000. Basically, the more people you get entering, the more interest you get, then the better the rewards are. And I think, I don't know if it actually tells you on here, does it? No, it doesn't. But you can essentially get VIP tokens and other rewards such as GP and gold. Just for creating kind of a popular tournament. So I guess if you've got a load of GP, it's worth doing, because you can end up getting a load of spins on the VIP box or whatever. Something to do with your GP. And basically the way it works is you register for whatever tournament you're interested in, and then you get a certain amount of goes at it. So you can see here it's saying remaining tournament 6 times, 24 times. So I believe, and again I've only done a few of these, if you register for it, you can repeatedly try until such a time as you run out of goes, and then however you'll record your best score, and you get cumulative points, I think. So the more times you go on it, the higher up in the point scale you'll go. So it's just another tournament to go in for, really. It's much the same. All the courses are similar courses you've played before. The guy who sets it up, or the girl, can choose. So this one's got no skills, no items. A lot of them are no items. So you get some interesting courses, some interesting setups that you don't see normally with the Tour and the World Championship. So it's a fun little change. It's quite a good thing, I think. Done a couple of them, and they've been a good bit of fun. But what we're looking at today, Grand Championship. As you can see, we're up to the final tournament. So I've done rounds 1, 2, and 3. So the way it works, if we just go back to round 1, it gives you the course and tee. So in this case, Whitecliff out from the 3rd tee. Driving distance limit 322.6 on this case, and it gives you a cut-off score. So basically, you need to do better than 1 under, which if you've played this game at all, you're going to do, in order to progress to the next round. And additionally, you've got these rewards here. So for 8 under, you get 65,000, 970, etc. So you want to try and get as high a score as possible to get the best reward. So I managed 13 under in the first and 14 under in the second, which was quite good. I think at that point I was pretty much top of the list, other than one guy, which I'll just talk about in a moment. Didn't do so well in the third. I did pretty poor at Sequoia. I should have really got 14 or 15 quite easily there, but never managed it anyway. But yeah, there was one guy, we'll see if we can find him, who managed to get 26 under in round 2, which is obviously not even a slightly realistic score. I believe, I'm not sure it's one of these you used to see in the weekly tournaments, the event tournaments. You'd see some horrific scores, people using that hole-in-one glitch that we've highlighted in the past. I don't think this is one of those cases. We've messaged this guy, a couple of the guys in the guild, and he seems to be as nonplussed as the rest of us as to where this score has come from, and it seems to be isolated. It seems to be just this one. So I believe this is some sort of Golfstar glitch rather than this guy cheating. But I wonder if he's actually been taken out of the list now. I kind of expect him to be in here somewhere. Never mind. You will probably have seen him if you've been on the Hive at all in the past few days. You would have seen screenshots. So the guy got, I think, something like 11 under first round, 26 under second round. There he is. So yeah, that's exactly what he hasn't bothered with the third round. I think probably because of the adverse attention he's been getting at level 75. 26 under, a little bit unlikely. Even a hole in one every hole, I'm not sure would actually get you 26 under par. So yeah, but again, I think if this was a cheat or a glitch that he was taking advantage of, I think it would see there would be a few more of them. But in general, that's not been happening. You've got some amazing scores, some that make you think, well, how in the world did they do that? But nothing that's entirely impossible, which is what that is. So anyway, we'll put that down as a one-off. So yeah, anyway, you get your 3 preliminary tournaments, and what happens at the end of those 3, go back to that ranking. Basically, the top 500 from the cumulative 3 scores they've put in are going to go through into the final. So it doesn't actually mean anything whether you're, as I am here, 12th, or if you're way down the bottom of the list. I can't be bothered to scroll all the way down, but you get the impression. Wherever you are in this list, doesn't make a difference going into the final. It's just a one-off, and you'll see there's prizes there. You get a trophy for being top, and you'll get gold for placing. I tend to do quite well in the preliminaries and then quite badly in the final. I think I managed last week 350 gold, which is a very bang average right in the middle. I've got 450 odd before, but the final is big wins and it's also no items. So some of these scores, 12 unders, I think that I hope in 3 rounds I could maybe get somewhere near that. But I'll be very surprised if I get anywhere near the top guys on 15 under par. That's pretty much a perfect round from the driving distance that we've got from this course in T, and in massive wins with no items, no juice, no putting guides. So really, you need an absolutely bang on round. You've got to be putting the ball dead with your approaches in 6 mile an hour crosswinds or 6 yards a second crosswinds, whatever you want to call them. So I don't think you'll be seeing any magical rounds like that from me today, but what I'll do is we'll run through a round, we'll have a bit of a chat about it. It's Golfstar, there's nothing particularly different about it, but it's going to be a fun one because of the big wins and, like I say, no items. So you'll not be seeing, well, not from me anyway, you'll not be seeing a perfect round by any means, but we'll see how close we can get. I'm hoping certainly 11, 12 under, I think, is a good starting point. With a bit of luck, could maybe go a bit higher. 3 tries to do it, and you get 3 chances. But it's all about just racking up the gold at the end of the day. So higher we get, the more gold will go in the bank. So we've got a little while, I think, till this one starts. And I've got another 30 minutes. I'm going to stop the video and we'll come back when it's ready to go. Right, so I think we're ready to go. 2 minutes past 7. So these are the finals on the hour, every hour. The preliminaries, I think, are every half hour. So you pretty much play one and then give it 10 minutes and then have another go. But for the final, you'll play it and then have a good half-hour wait until you can have another go at it. So as we can see earlier, we had exactly the same course actually, but with only 322.6 yards from the same tee. So this time 377. So the first time around, most of the par fours were out of reach other than the fifth. I'm fairly certain that this time all the par fours pretty much will be in reach, maybe not the third, which is a bit longer than the rest of them. I don't think that'll be enough to make Albatross, certainly at the sixth. Might just be enough on the ninth. We'll find out. There's a bit of a learning process. You get 3 rounds in it. Normally the first 1 or 2 will be kind of just getting your bearings, I suppose. But the thing is, with the big wins, there's a lot of random factors thrown in as well, so you're just as likely to get a good score the first time as the last, or I am anyway. And I'm not great with these big wins. I've not done any real research or calculation into 5 and 6 yard wins, so I tend to just take a punt at it and see what happens. So we'll get an interesting round. We'll see. So if we go to start round there, I'll just check. So I've got my big balls and tees, which is, just to clarify that, the 15 yard tees and the 10 yard balls. Now these are only available in packages every so often. I think it's every month or so. So I just tend to buy them when they're there. I suspect that most of the people will do the same now. There wasn't a great deal of use for them, bearing in mind the driving distance kind of limit that we've seen recently. If you watch my other videos, you'll know what I mean about that. Once you reach a certain amount of stats, kind of 4,500 or so, there is no great benefit to going above that. You're not going to be able to hit it much further, so it kind of renders these pretty redundant. However, on these limited driving distance games, they are extremely useful, and I think that's pretty much why these have been introduced. It's just a way to sell these big 15 yard tees and 10 yard balls. If you don't have them, you can still put a fairly competitive score in, but you're not going to be hitting the top, the very top rankings. Certainly in the first 1, 2 and 3 rounds, if you don't have them. So really, it's a way of kind of selling these, I think. When I say selling them, you're talking about a package, I think it was about 1,700 stars or something. And bearing in mind, I did a calculation. I might do a video on this actually. I was meaning to do it. I get a lot of angry or twisted people messages saying you're a cheat. Look at all your GP. Look at all your stars. Well, not the GP, because I'm spending like nothing else recently. But I've always got a healthy amount of stars in the bank. I think I worked out. In fact, I had a week where I thought I'd just see how much gold I could get. It was 2,500 gold in a week. That's with things like the tour, the guild battle, the tournament we're about to play, the Grand Championship now. Just even the match challenge, you can get 130 stars a day easy. When I say easy, it's a minimum of 10 rounds to do that, but it's perfectly plausible to get upwards of 2,000 stars a week. So there's it's in some ways nice to have something useful to spend it on. Anyway, so we're going to give this a go before the time runs out, and we'll have to wait another hour. So if we go to start round, I've got the big balls and the big tees attached. So we'll see. It'll put us in a group of 3 other people. Didn't quite get a chance to see who they were then. Couple of German fellas there. So again, we've got a big 4 yard wind, and we've got no putting guides, no perfect drinks. So it's all down to raw Golfstar skill. You would hope I had a little bit of that, but we'll see how we get on. Idea of this one, I want to be pitching around about here. I don't want to pitch it on the green because it's likely to go off the back, so I want to really be pitching the ball about here to roll on towards the pin. I'm not going to play a high or a backspin shot, although it might be sensible to do so. I found recently backspins really difficult to judge and difficult to control. So rather than that, I'm going with a power shot, so I can use a slightly more lofted club for a bit more control. And I'm going to hit this around about there, and we're going to cross the fingers. Pretty sure I don't want to overhit this. I want to be underhitting it, if anything, very slightly. We don't luckily have the shot clock on us, but with it being a par 3, we're running out of time already. Actually, I need to get moving. Again, the older I get with this, the harder I find it to hit this line. I'm just going to have to take a punt on one of these soon enough. Right, this time, come on. I'll have to do. So it's going to pitch just about where I wanted it to. Yeah, I'm happy enough with that. Worth taking the time. A little bit too hard, it could easily have flown off. So that should really be a standard birdie. With the no items, I'll always tend to try and hit the putt quite hard, just because it means you've got to calculate less break. Obviously you don't want to overhit it because it can roll over the hole, but you do get quite a lot of leeway with those. So this is the first one. We'll see if this is going to be drivable. If it is, it's going to be touch and go. Let's have a look. Yeah, so realistically we're not quite going to make the green here. We're going to end up in this kind of area here, which is, I mean, it's better to be there than down here, because you've got the problem of this tree being in the way of your approach shot. And I suppose it'll give us a chance of a chip in. Difficult chip from there. But let's just hit it and see how we get on. Just not left enough. You notice that overhanging tree could have been a little bit of a problem there. So it does make it onto the green. If I had putting guides, I'm not sure there'd be any use here, because there's that much distance between the ball and the hole. I don't think, yeah, if you look at how far we can hit that, we wouldn't be able to put this hard enough to actually make it in. So I'd be chipping this anyway, even if we did have guides. So fingers crossed with this one. This is a bit of hit and hope. Just make sure I hit it hard enough. It's going to come a little bit right to left. Sorry, left to right. And yeah, it didn't get that one right at all. So one of the potential eagle opportunities gone. What you'd be hoping for in this hole is the one pin that's short, which is towards the left hand side. The driving distance we've got there is pretty much bang on to hit it full blast and put it just about pin high for a pin bottom left. So out of the 3 rounds, I'll be hoping for one of those. See how we get on. I wouldn't have classed that as a real eagle opportunity. With this one, a low shot is always going to go further than a power shot. I'm hoping this will get us within range of a flop, which would hopefully pretty much guarantee a birdie. There's equally, I suppose, a chance I could chip in here. And in fact, in the first round, I did manage to chip in. It was a pitch shot, I think, a full sandwich I managed to put in here when I made a 14 under. To be honest, if I got anywhere near 14 under, I would be delighted here with no items, despite the fact I can hit it a lot further this time. So, right, we're going to just flop this in. Nothing too complicated about this, I don't think. Yeah, that's another one where put it in the area, fingers crossed you might put one in. You can't, well, I can't, I don't know if anyone can, accurately with any confidence really go after the hole. You're going to put it in the vicinity, fingers crossed, might go in. So it looks like, I didn't notice actually, Punjabi 90 managed to put probably a chip in on the second. So he's taking the lead with 4 under, which is quite impressive. Let's just see if we can keep up with him. So this one, I'm going to hit it. I think pretty much a full 8 iron actually is probably going to be about right. I like a full shot because I don't have to spend ages trying to hit the line, although I probably should have thought about that a bit more and try to put it a bit, give myself a bit of an easier put. But let's see how we get on with this. Again, hitting it quite hard to try and even out some of that break. Just about managed that. Very nearly crept out to the left hand side of the hole. So it's a tricky hole, that one, but looks like this Punjab, no TK, no, that is Punjabi 90 who is maintaining his lead. Well done. The guy TK's got a bit of a more tricky putt. And you'll see a lot of that actually with no items. You'll see a lot of chipping on the green. it can be an easier shot than a putt. If you've got a little bit of break, a lot easier to judge a chip because it's just not going to take so much break, basically. So with this one, generally, I might play a sky shot. In fact, I'm kind of tempted to play this sky shot here, you know. I'm not very good at judging the sky shot, but I think that would... No, I'm gonna rethink actually. I'm gonna instead go for a standard 3-wood roundabout here. What I'm hoping here is it'll just make it over the trees. I think with that 3-yard head, it might be a bit too soft. This, let's see. No, that's okay. That was pretty much the best I could hope for. Still a tricky putt 'cause it's downhill, but it should be fairly straight. So you'd be hoping, he says, to put this one in. And managed it. So that's a good result. So I'm pretty much on track for what I would consider, for me, the best I can do. Possibly that chip on the second hole. You might have, with a bit of luck, wanted that to go in, but... And now I suspect this will be interesting to see, can we actually make the green here? I suspect not. Let's just see. Yeah, nowhere near. So we're going basically for... You can get over the top of this bunker. It's been a while since I've played this shot. It used to be a fairly stock shot at Whitecliff. As you start to increase, you'll be getting closer and closer to the green. Until eventually you can just drive the green, certainly from the third tee. I think anything over about 3,500 stats, you're probably going to be able to do that. But, alright. So this one, it's going to go 6, so it's going to go pretty much 10 to 12 dots to the right. Based on the lie, but that's going to come back in a bit with a wind. I'm thinking something like that. I don't want to underhit this. Obviously I don't want to overhit it either, but I think something like that's probably about what I need. Excuse me. Can't get anywhere near the line at the minute. Lucky it's a par 5, you get a lot more time to think about these, or to try and hit the bleeding line, which I do have some bother with. That shouldn't be too far away. Could have done with being a bit closer. Uphill putt though, which is always what you want. And again, hit it plenty hard, and that's comfortably in. So this can be a really tricky hole, this one. Even with putting guides, etc. What I'm wanting to do is to pitch the ball round about here to loop up, ideally pretty much where the cursor is, to give us a straightish putt. If we end up kind of up here or up here, you've got a really difficult putt. So I just want to pop the ball up to around about here, which is obviously easier said than done. I'm going to try. I'm going to go with a 2-wood power shot here, I think, but underpower it a bit. The problem is with a 3-wood, if you catch the fringe here, it can easily bounce backwards. My thinking here is playing a 2-wood underpowered a bit. It's going to be travelling flatter, and therefore is going to hopefully have more chance of popping up onto the green. So again, let's just cross fingers and see what actually happens here. I'm thinking just under that. If I do actually land it on the green, obviously it's going to go way off the back. So I want to be hitting it, I suggest probably about there. Fingers crossed. Oh, not quite. So it's probably 95%. I'll try and remember that for next time. But still, to be honest, I'd rather be here than on the green, any distance away, as long as it's not a perfectly straight shot, because it's just so difficult to actually hold these things. So the putts. So I think I'd probably rather have an uphill chip, which is what I've ended up with here. And again, I'm not spending a great deal of time thinking about this or lining it up. Probably because I don't have much. Let's just check the clock. I've still got a minute to go, so I'll take my time to try and hit the line. Definitely don't want to hit it under that because it could easily stop short, so that should be about right, I think. And not a bad lineup, but not quite. So I'd like to think, again, out of the 3 rounds, I would hopefully get an eagle there at some point. Similarly, this next hole I think is going to be within driving distance. So logically speaking, or realistically speaking, if I was to birdie this eagle last, that would be 12 under. So I'll be unhappy to get any less than 12 under. Anything over that, obviously going to be a bonus. Alright, with this one I'm wanting to pitch it on the fairway or fringe. If it pitches on the green, it's going to end up way back. If it pitches on the fairway or fringe, it can hop up quite nicely to where that hole is, so that's what I'm aiming for. I think something like that. A lot of guesswork, you know, they're not my stats. They were at some point in the past, but not anymore. Let's see what that's going to do. But it didn't land on the green, which is a good thing, but even so, it's still gone 10 yards past, which will leave us a tricky eagle chance. Yeah, so this is definitely one where I'll be chipping. So it's basically a case of overhitting it. That gradient on the green should bring it back. That's actually gone in. Happy with that. So missed a couple of chips, managed to put 1 in. So that puts us technically on for a 13 under, which would be 2 shots short of the top. That's assuming an albatross isn't possible. We'll find out now if it is or not. We've got a big, well, I thought we had a big following when there's actually a big right to left. So yeah, I mean, if that line was a 2 or a 3 would be making it because of the extra loft. But in actual fact, with the driver, the pitch point is going to be kind of down here. This is a very steep hill, so it's going to end up pitching, then probably rolling back into the rough here. But I don't see any great harm going for this, so I'm going to do that. Just want to make sure I don't hit the tree. And also, you can't. I would always play, or generally try to play a draw on this hole, but obviously that bank in front of us kind of precludes us from doing that from this tee. I suspect this is going to go sliding down the hill to the left, which is kind of, yeah, pretty much the best result I could have hoped for. So looking at that, I don't think there's going to be any putted albatrosses on this hole. That's not to say there won't be any chips. So I'm using chip here just to see the gradient of the green. Then I'm going to switch to a flop. Now that I know what the green's going to do. So it's rolling away from us and slightly right to left. We've got a little bit of a right to left wind as well. So I'm going to say something like that, to be honest. I'm a bit cautious. Might even be a bit underhit this, bearing in mind the loft of the lie, etc. But I'd rather be short than long because it can easily go off the back here. Let's see where it actually ends up. Oh, still nearly went off the back anyway. There's something to bear in mind for future rounds here. So struggling a little bit to get the eagle here, which will be disappointing if I don't manage it. Let's have a look. I think that's about right. Fingers crossed. And he's missed it. Typical. So that's a 12, which is kind of what I thought I'd be getting after 7, but really should have got 13. So I've got 2 more chances to have a go at it. I think I'd probably get 13, but the heady heights of 14 and 15, without a great deal of luck, I think are unlikely that I'll hit. So we'll see how we do. But to see what that'll do for us, if we have a look at the standings, just skip past all this nonsense. Right, so if we have a look at the ranking now, we should see, yeah, so 12 is going to get me basically at the minute 440. That'll most likely go down because as more people better that and get 13, 14, it'll kind of get pushed down a little bit. So you'd probably expect to be getting, let's keep going down, 410 at the minute for 11 under and 380. So I'm going to be getting about 400 stars as it stands at the minute. I'll have another couple of goes. I'll record them if they do well. I'll maybe use those rounds instead of this one that I've just recorded. So yeah, that's how it works. At the end of the day, it's a fun little tournament. There's quite a few rewards for the earlier rounds. I've basically got 90,000 GP. I've got 20 of these Transcendence Revision passes, and I have 3 VIP tokens, which is probably the best of the 3 rewards, or on paper, but when you spin them and actually get 3 brown bags, it's not really that exciting, but on paper possibly the best of the 3 rewards, and then hopefully be around about 400 stars for my troubles. So definitely worse ways to spend a weekend than playing a few rounds. It's and it's quite if you've got high stats and you've moved up from kind of the stat level these are played at, in some ways it's quite nice to go back. I mean, it's a little bit of a different game, you know, approach shots and putt rather than drive and putt. But yeah, anyway, thank you very much for watching. So again, just to reiterate what I was saying at the start of the video, I'm only 100 and odd subscribers short of the target that YouTube give us for continuing to receive money for doing these, the small amount of money that it is, whatever. I would be really grateful if we can get a few more, well ideally 110 more, I think it is thereabouts, people to click on subscribe to these, and I promise if that does happen in the next month or so, I'll try and churn out a few more videos, certainly for the next month or two after that. Alright, thanks very much for watching.